Gladys Knight, you won't believe what happened next. That's the kind of line people throw around, but tonight it actually fits. Imagine spending 6 decades earning standing ovations, only to get cut out of closing slots, bumped off programs, and iced out backstage by the very people who once called you sister. After the lights, after the awards, what was left for Gladys Knight wasn't always applause. It was the quiet sting of doors closing where smiles used to be. And now, she's done being silent. Let's set the stage. Back in the classic soul era, Howard didn't just live on the charts. It lived in dressing rooms, call sheets, and last-minute memos from the top. If you were in, you glided. If you weren't, you learned to swallow your pride and sing anyway. Gladys did that more than once. But the stories that followed her, some whispered, some remembered, a little too clearly tell a pattern. Tonight, we trace 5 names, 5 moments, 5 cuts that never quite healed. You ready? Diana Ross. The legend, the star, the rulebook. On paper, these two were peers, giants, born from the same hit factory, touring the same revues, stacking hits at the same time. But power was never split evenly. One show tells the story. A major revue in Philadelphia was set. The lineup printed. Gladys Knight and the Pips finally slotted to close a sign she'd climbed from reliable opener to undeniable headliner. Then, a car door shut, a letter appeared, and the order changed. Diana Ross walked in, late but unchallengeable, and the night bent around her. Gladys still did what she always did, sang her heart out, took the crowd higher, but the final bow belonged to the visitor who wasn't even on the poster that morning. That wasn't a one-off. There were other moments, other mics, other sudden rearrangements that seemed to orbit the same center of gravity. No public feud, no explosive showdown, just the lesson. Sometimes the spotlight moves, and nobody asks you first. Aretha Franklin. The crown was hers, and everyone knew it. The voice, the force, the title that stuck, Queen of Soul. Respect, earned, and then some. But crowns can be heavy, and proximity to power can feel tense. Between Aretha Franklin and Gladys Knight, there was never tabloid chaos, only a careful distance. The industry wanted unity photos, shared tributes, hand-in-hand moments that said sisterhood. What they got, more often than not, was 2 queens on 2 separate islands. One night in Atlanta made that distance feel louder. Timing changes, entrance rules, a shared moment that somehow split into 2 solo appearances. Both women were brilliant, both delivered, but the warmth the producers wanted never arrived. Later, even at the kind of memorial where legends usually close ranks, plans shifted, and Gladys opened rather than closed. She sang with grace, bowed, and exited without bitterness. But the message was clear. This throne room had careful lines, and nobody crossed them by mistake. Patti LaBelle. If charisma could pay rent, Patti LaBelle would own every block. For years, she and Gladys Knight looked like the model of friendship duets, tributes, glowing quotes. Then came a tour concept. Equal billing, shared finales, 3 titans in harmony. And suddenly, the negotiation turned sharp. Closing rights matter in the land of divas. So do mic placements, arrangements, and who stands center when the camera pushes in. When the equal part felt not so equal, Gladys did what seasoned pros do. She stepped back rather than wrestle on stage. The fallout wasn't a dramatic explosion. It was a long winter. Nearly a decade of avoiding the same stage, traveling different circles, pretending the phone didn't ring. When they finally shared space again on live TV, the handshake was real, but so was the caution. Patti soared, as she does, ad-libbed the skies open, and the crowd roared. Gladys smiled, gracious as ever. Sometimes, friendships don't end with a bang. They thin out until there's just enough thread to nod across. Chaka Khan. Fire in the voice, steel in the spine. Chaka Khan can set an arena on vibrate with one note. Once upon a time, Gladys backed her publicly when the storms hit radio pullbacks, painful headlines, the kind of season that tests who really loves you. Years later, a big mixed-generation event promised a beautiful bridge. Legends with new voices, past with present. Then came the whispers, slot changes, image worries, last-minute switches that turned a shared moment into a shuffle. The audience got a show. Backstage, a different story played out. Someone waiting in a car in full costume, time gone, no knock on the window, no angry press release followed. Gladys didn't swing back. She just vanished from that circle, and the silence said, "Enough." And it wasn't just that night. It was a pattern people in the wings noticed. When the spotlight felt threatened, the air got thin around whoever stood beside it. Martha Reeves. This one hurts because it started as family. Martha Reeves, the heartbeat of Martha and the Vandellas, and Gladys Knight shared the Motown grind buses, ballrooms, the kind of stages where you earn fans one sweaty encore at a time. Then tours got bigger, egos got bruised, and the final number, the sacred closing medley, became a battlefield. A switch here, a microphone adjustment there. An offhand line to a crowd about favoritism. Nothing you could print on a poster. Everything you could feel as the curtain fell. Later, TV specials and compilation ideas stirred the pot again. A memo from somewhere. A suggestion to trim a name. History is written in bold type, but sometimes it's edited in pencil. Gladys didn't shout. She didn't tweet before tweets existed. She just turned the page and kept working while the cold lingered where warmth used to be. Now, let's be real. Were these professional clashes wrapped in glitter? Or straight-up betrayals? Depends on who you ask. In show business, who's closing is never a small question. It's rank, it's respect, it's money past and future. It's also image, who the cameras catch on the final applause, who anchors the recap, whose name trends. When those decisions change last minute, nobody forgets. And when the same names benefit again and again, patterns start to look like policy. Still, here's the twist that makes Gladys Knight different. She kept choosing grace. She sang, she bowed, she let the work speak. She did not build her legacy by breaking someone else's. She let time be the judge, and time was kind. If you've been in any industry long enough, you've felt a piece of this. A credit missing, a meeting moved without your name, a colleague you lifted who didn't reach back when you slipped. These stories aren't just music business tea. They're a map of how power protects itself, and they're a reminder that legends are human wounds and all. Here's the final question for you. Were these just scheduling misunderstandings or tactical moves? Which name surprised you most? And if you had the mic, who would you stand next to for that last bow? Drop your thoughts below. I read every take. If this breakdown got you thinking, hit like, subscribe for more true behind-the-curtain stories, and share this with someone who still believes the encore is always fair. Because sometimes, the real show starts after the spotlight goes dark, and the choices you make there define your legacy more than any note ever could.